Okay, I think we're live now. Is that what's happening? You guys got to let me know. Keep me updated in the chat. This is the first time I've done a live show on my own. So last time I did this, Janelle was with me. So work with me. I'm a little intimidated, but we're going to get through this. Let's see. First of all, people who are staying up super late over in Europe, that's awesome. I saw, let's see, people in Portugal, people in Germany. There are so many people. Hi, I'm really glad that you decided to watch this live stream. I hope that it is worth it. I'm just going to quickly tweet that I am live so that other people they can come join us if they would like to do that. Okay. Hi, everybody. Wow. Austria? Hello. So, I'm in case you don't know, I'm from Utah. So it is about 5 o'clock Mountain Standard Time here. New Zealand? What? New Jersey? Oh man, New Jersey, close to my heart. Wow. Okay. Sorry, I'm getting really excited about all of the people who were here. Oh no. Okay. So I guess I should get into what we're doing today, why I am here in my room, and why there are stacks of books, and why my bookshelves are empty. I'm moving. Some of you may know that. Some of you may not know that. Right now, I am just moving in with my grandparents for a couple of months, but this summer, I am going to be moving back to, I'm going to be moving back to the East Coast. I'm going to be moving with Janelle, which is really exciting. But on the route to that, I have to get rid of a whole lot of books because the whole plan with moving to Pennsylvania is that Janelle's going to fly out here. We are going to drive to Pennsylvania, which means I have to fit everything I own into my car. It's a decently sized car, but it's not going to fit everything. And as someone who just pulled all of their Funko Pops off their shelf, this is already pretty intimidating. Let's see. I'm also trying to follow the chat, so sorry if I'm kind of reading at the same time. Kaylee, hi! Yes, we will definitely be coming to New York at some point. Lindsay, hi. Lindsay is moving to another country, if I remember correctly. If I remember correctly, I'm related to Lindsay. So I hope the moving is going okay. Love you, Linz. I want to be able to see you guys again. So I have every single book on my shelf right here next to me. It's a little intimidating. I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm going to try to turn. It's an extensive collection of piles, which is a lot. Yeah. I am not going to be able to give away a lot of books just because I don't have a lot of money. I can't send a lot of books, but I do have some stuff that I collect from like subscription boxes and all that kind of stuff that I'm going to be doing a couple of giveaways of. So just generalized bookish merch. I'm going to be doing that on Twitter probably in the next week or so because I'm trying to clear out my supply of that. Let's see. Yeah, it is a lot of books. I have a lot right now. And I've been gradually cutting down. I've been cutting down more lately than I used to, but I still need to get rid of some. So basically, I was inspired to do this by a lot of the people on BookTube who've been doing unhauls and, why am I not remembering the KonMari method where you just kind of have to touch every single thing that you own and decide whether or not you're going to keep it. And that's what I've done. That's why everything is off of my bookshelves. So this is going to be a hangout sesh. I'm going to talk to you guys. We're going to chill, but also go through every single book that I own and decide whether or not I'm going to keep it. I thought before we got into this, I would tell you some of the ones that I am definitely keeping. I made a teeny tiny pile. If you can see what's already in here, it's not that hard to guess. Basically, this stack of definitely keeping is just my Harry Potter books. These I have owned since I was about 12 years old. That's when I started my collection. So I'm not going to get rid of them because I've owned these for over 10 years of my life. So, hello, 10-year-old Harry Potter books. Janelle and I are going to have so many duplicate sets of Harry Potter books. It's absurd, but we're not getting rid of any of our sets. I'm going to try to put these up here. These empty shelves are going to be my arbitrary keep shelves. So, yeah, I'm keeping those. Also keeping my Hogwarts library, just cause, and I'm also keeping Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, which is a Scottish edition. My neighbor is Scottish, and the last time she went to Scotland, she brought this back. So, keeping that for sure. Also because Janelle collects foreign editions of Harry Potter books, so we have a ton of foreign editions, and that has to stay a part of the collection. Let's see. Yes, if you want to do giveaway stuff, you are going to have a Twitter. That's just the easiest way that I can do giveaways. Sorry about that. Yeah. Also, someone asked earlier what I'm currently reading. I know that that's kind of random, but we can talk about that. That was actually the next thing I was going to talk about. I'm currently reading All Out, which is a collection of short stories about queer teens through the ages. I started reading this during Prideathon and didn't quite finish it. I'm over halfway through, really liking it. I'm currently reading that. Last night, I finished reading Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. I stayed up until like 2:30 in the morning finishing it. But that's because I loved it. And that also means I have to choose a new book that I'm going to be reading. These are the books that I own that were on my TBR shelf, so I'm not getting rid of them. They are The Witch Boy by Molly Knox Ostertag. Just got this for my birthday, so I'm not getting rid of it. We have Homegoing by Ya Jassy, which I believe is the thing I'm going to be reading next. Pretty sure, so keeping that. Reign of the Fallen is on my TBR for the month. Definitely keeping this, one of my most anticipated releases of the year. And then I also have an arc of Emergency Contact by Mary H.K. Choi. If I don't read Homegoing next, I'm going to be reading this next. This came out in March, but it's also one of my most anticipated releases of the year, so not getting rid of that. Whew. All of you who haven't read Radio Silence, yes, you gotta read Radio Silence. Anyone who doesn't like Simon Verses, there are people out there for sure, and, you know, I understand. Sometimes it happens. I happen to love it. Reign of the Fallen, Homegoing, Radio Silence, all getting solid reviews. Have to agree. Whoa. Okay. Sorry. I've never had to keep track of a chat before and talk. I am definitely, I am definitely keeping my Chronicles of Narnia books. I actually have those right here. So these were a wonderful Christmas gift from my mom. They are editions in publication order that I desperately wanted. They were published in the 80s. I love them just so very dearly. So not getting rid of those either. That's going on the shelf. Ooh, it's a good thing I got water. I almost didn't get water before I started this. That would have been a bad decision. This, by the way, is my Ravenclaw water bottle. I don't know if you guys have seen it in videos or live shows that I've done before, but I got it in Florida, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, and I use it every day at work. It's like one of my prized possessions, so. What else? Oh, the last book that I'm keeping that I just went and found in the other room is Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. I'm keeping it because I want to read it, but it's in this pile because I just stole it from my sister, who currently is reading it. It's right in there. My sister has OCD, and so I was really excited to be able to give her this book to read because it is Own Voice's OCD rep, and OCD rep is hard to find. So I don't have her official review on this yet, but she's a person with OCD, and so I'm really excited to hear what she thinks about it. Yeah, what are everyone's Hogwarts houses? I see people starting to talk about it in the chat. Obviously, I'm a Ravenclaw. I love my Ravenclaw people, but Season Puffs, gotta love the Hufflepuffs. Yes, those of you who are reading Evelyn Hugo, excellent, fantastic book. Slytherin, Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff, there's a Gryffindor. Okay, so we've got a full collection of people here. Slitherclaw, okay. Oh, wow, I'm so excited. Slitherpuff, that is such a rare combo. And I've just got to say, I love you Slitherpuffs out there. You're wonderful, wonderful people. And underrepped that offset of Hogwarts house people. I don't really know where I'm going to get started on this. This seemed like a good project, but it's also a little bit overwhelming. So we're just going to start grabbing books and hoping for the best. And let me know in the chat if this is a book that I should read or not, or a book that I should keep or not if I've already read it. Yeah, let's just get started. I'm just going to grab a book. So this one I'm definitely keeping. This is a teeny tiny edition of The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde. I got it at a flea market, Brooklyn Flea, actually, which is one of my favorite places to go. I love Oscar Wilde. I love The Importance of Being Earnest, so I'm definitely not getting rid of my teeny tiny edition of that book. Yes, Oscar Wilde. I also have a copy of, why am I not remembering his most famous book? Picture of Dorian Gray. I have a copy of Picture of Dorian Gray, but it's currently in storage. I have a box of books in storage that are currently in Pennsylvania that I don't have to transport, which is exciting. I'd like to avoid transporting books at all costs. They're terrible to translate. Yes, you do see We Are the Ants by Sean David Hutchinson. First of all, I think Dylan would kill me. He'd figure out a way to kill me if I got rid of this, but I never, ever would get rid of this book. It's one of my favorite books of all time. So yeah, I'm not getting rid of this. I love it. If you haven't read it, there are a lot of trigger warnings, so go in warned, but We Are the Ants is one of my favorite books. Ever. I love it. Yes, I did already say where I am moving to. For the first couple months, I'm going to be moving with my grandparents this summer. I am indeed moving in with Janelle. So, finally happening. It only took us a year to work it out. But it's happening. Let's see. What else do we have on here? This was a Christmas gift I'd rather be reading. It's like library art and quotes and stuff. It was from my aunt. I'm keeping this. I just barely got it for Christmas. And I like it. It's a pretty book. And I like pretty books. I don't know. Who doesn't like pretty books, I guess? First edition of Picture of Dorian Gray. One of my friends at school had a first edition of Dorian Gray. Or he has one of the non-edited version. So basically like the super gay version of Dorian Gray. We were all so jealous of it when we were reading the regular editions that we could find, and he had like the mega gay version. I would love to get a different edition of Dorian Gray because I like the one I have, but you know, what can you do? Okay. So this is actually one of the ones I was trying to decide what I was going to do with. So The Giver is one of my favorite books. I'm not getting rid of this. I've owned this since I was in 6th grade. So I was like 11 years old when I first got this. I've read it 20 times. You couldn't pay me to get rid of this edition of this book. I will never get rid of my copy of The Giver. But Gathering Blue is the second book in the series. I've been gradually getting rid of the rest of the Giver quartet. I've read all 4 of them. I read Sun like years after I read everything else, but I've read Messenger and Sun and got rid of them a little while ago. But I've held on to Gathering Blue because it is the same size as my copy of The Giver, and I remember vaguely liking it, but I didn't love it. Let's see. Yeah, exactly. I love The Giver so much, and I love the world in this one connects to the first book really nicely, but I kind of just like the first one the most, so this might be the first casualty. This might be the first casualty of the Unhaul. I think I'm going to be getting rid of this copy of Gathering Blue, which means even though at one point I owned all 4 books in the series, now just back down to the one that I loved. Whew! All right, 1 book down. So many to go. Let's go Mysterious Benedict Society by Trenton Lee Stewart. This is a middle grade book that I talk about a lot because it's kind of weird and I loved it when I was 10. I loved it so much. But I've also never gotten the urge to reread it. I love this cover. I love these books. I read more than just this one. I read other sequels in the series, and if you like middle grade, then I highly recommend this book. But I Yeah, I don't like middle grade anymore. That is an accurate summary. The Mysterious Benedict Society is about these four kids who come together. There's an ad that's put in the paper looking for gifted children, and they basically have to go through a variety of tasks that prove that they are worthy of being involved in some kind of mysterious program. And these four kids are the only four who make it through, and they wind up having to go on a secret mission that only these really resourceful kids can go on. Which is like great. It's funny and it's a good book about friendship, but I'm never gonna reread it. So it's gonna go. That one hurt a little. I've owned that book for a long time, but I'm never going to reread it. Like ever. If you like middle grade, I do recommend it though. I think it's a really, really good middle grade series. Yeah, exactly. I'll keep my great memories of it, but I don't think I need the actual physical book to remember reading it. I read so many books like that when I was a kid. I also read The 13th Reality by James Dashner, which, I mean, I think most of James Dashner's books have been effectively soiled for me, but I got rid of all my James Dashner books a few months ago. So I think that it's just like time for me to move past. Yeah, exactly. My rule is also generally whether or not I will reread a book. If I'm going to reread it, then I should keep it. Yeah. So people just saw that I picked up the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy by Laini Taylor. What's weird is I've never read these physical books. I've read the books, but I haven't read these copies because I originally read them on my e-reader when I was living in London, and then I read them all in a month and loved them so much that when I got back, I slowly accumulated my physical books. I think I would really like to reread these someday. I do. This is a really weird, interesting YA fantasy trilogy that gets into angels and demons, which is one of my favorite topics in fiction. So I think this series in general, they all got 4 stars for me. It's like a 4-star trilogy overall. I think that the last book really stumbles in the last like 50 pages. It doesn't know what it's doing. It's really an unfortunate note to end the series on, but overall, I really like these books. So if you haven't read them, you should read them. Yeah, I loved these, and I would like to reread them someday. So I'm going to keep that whole trilogy. You know what? You should only go into those books knowing that there is an angel and a demon. I think that like going in without knowing much about the series is the best option. Basically, the summary I always give is that it's about an angel and a demon who fell in love and how everything from there goes wrong. It's just a great trilogy if you're looking to discover new stories and just go in with no knowledge. It's funny, it's weird, and it's beautifully written. So yeah. I have not read the novellas that go with the series. I would like to, I think. But I haven't read the novellas themselves. That's one of the books I actually would be interested. I haven't read Strange the Dreamer. I've read the description of Strange the Dreamer a lot of times, but it doesn't like pop to me. It doesn't sound very interesting to me, which is probably on mine. It's like probably on me for not being invested in it. I know it's gotten a lot of incredible reviews, and I love Laini Taylor's writing, but every time I think about reading Strange the Dreamer, I'm like, I don't really need to. So it hasn't been on my TBR, but a lot of people really like it. Let's see. Someone just said that the synopsis doesn't do it justice. Is that accurate for those of you who have read it? Because I definitely, the summary doesn't interest me very much, but if it's more than the summary, then let me know. Oh man, I have so many Shannon Hale books. So this is the Princess Academy trilogy, which is like a higher middle grade trilogy. I knew you were going to say that, Kaylee. I remember you saying that in a video that you should go on without the synopsis, and I was like, so maybe someday. Oh, okay. Good night, Ben. I know that it's really late in some places, so good night. This should still be up on the channel when the live stream's over. Shannon Hale. I actually love this trilogy. I do. but I don't know if I'm ever going to reread them. Part of the problem with these is, are these all signed? That one is not. I know that my second book in this trilogy is signed. I don't think my third one is. Yeah. So the second book in the series was signed by Shannon Hale. These are like really soft and sweet middle grade. And when I read the third book, The Forgotten Sisters, it wound up on my favorite books of the year that year. But I don't have a lot of interest in rereading them. I'm going to be more protective of some Shannon Hale than others, but I think overall of all her books that I've read that I own, this might be the ones that I like least. Yeah, getting rid of signed books is always really hard. I've gotten rid of a bunch though. Got rid of all my James Dashner books and every single one of those was signed, and I got rid of those before the truly questionable stuff started happening. This trilogy might be time for these to go. This might be an exercise in me finally getting rid of all of the rest of the middle grade that I have, because I have a lot of middle grade that I loved when I was younger, but I don't think I'm going to reread them because I don't really read middle grade anymore. What else? So I've still got this. Yeah, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, which is yeah. So everyone, I have a very specific thing to say about Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. I historically hate Cursed Child. My most popular video on my entire channel is me doing like a 40-minute rant about everything I hate about this book. The reason I have kept it is because it's very useful when I start to plan my Harry Potter chats videos. When I just did a video about like the legacy of Harry Potter, I got a ton from this, and it's because it is absolutely tabbed to hell and back with like color-coded tabs, so I can remember like if I want to talk about queer baiting, if I want to talk about family relationships, then I have that marked. So I hate this book. I do. I truly, truly hate it. But yes, it's only good for receipts of why it sucked. That's exactly it. So I think that this one needs to go in like a maybe pile because it's been useful, but like it sits on my shelf like this. I don't even keep its spine out because it makes me angry. It doesn't sit with my Harry Potter books. It's banished, but I think it's a book that's useful for me when I'm doing videos. So somehow that is staying. It's a weird world that we're in, that I'm keeping Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, because legit, my most popular video on this entire channel is just me shitting on that book for so long. I do have my notes for that book. I have a huge collection of notes for all of the Harry Potter books, but I like being able to access the quotes really easily. I think it's like the English degree person within me that I like to be able to have records of all of that stuff and be able to go back to the specific source and kind of see it in context. I truly just think that it's because I have an English degree and I refuse to get rid of it. This is a series that I have been thinking about getting rid of for a very long time. Let's see. Oh, sorry. Will the Snape Funko Pop stand in the corner on your new shelves? Probably. That depends on, I think that depends on what Janelle and I decide. Because when we lived together and I had Snape, he faced the corner, but it was still kind of just a mutual, like, dorm decision. We thought it was funny. So I don't know. It's going to depend on when we actually set up all of our new Funko Pops, where they go and where they don't go. Maybe he will face a corner because we both feel the same about him. I am a lot more extreme in my hatred of Snape than Janelle is. It's a thing that's going to be decided later. Yeah, I don't really want to super get into James Dashner and everything that happened, but there were some pretty intense sexual misconduct allegations. It was really terrible. There were a bunch of authors, actually, that it happened a while ago, but I don't really want to get into that here. There was just a whole situation with a lot of male authors and not male authors. That was reductive of me. A lot of authors that were being accused of sexual misconduct at conventions and stuff. But moving on from that, so these books, the Stormglass series by Maria V. Snyder. So if you guys have heard of the Poison Study series by Maria V. Snyder, that's actually a trilogy that comes before this. No worries on asking. I know that that's about James Dashner. I know that that's like a hot topic. But so these books, this is a trilogy that comes after the Poison Study trilogy, which I have never read. But I got these from the library probably when I was 12 or 13, and I really, really liked them. The problem is, reflecting back on these books, I don't remember for sure, but I think that there is a really, really problematic romance storyline. And the more I've thought of it over time, the more that I've been like, do I ever even want to reread these? But I also want to know if my memory is accurate that it's a really gross romance. So that is why I've been holding on to these, because they're a really interesting YA fantasy series with a lot of interesting magic, storm magic, glass magic. Like, they're really, really interesting. Yeah, is that a confirmation that there is a gross romance? From what I'm remembering, truly, I feel like I remember the main character falling for her abuser. I don't remember that for sure, which is the only reason I've kept these books, is because I keep second guessing myself and going, is that not what happened? But I'm seeing at least one confirmation that the romance is gross. Does anyone else know? I know, it's going to take me a million years to pack all of these. Okay. Well, I think I'm going to look up an online synopsis, but from what I remember, this has a gross romance, which is really, really disappointing because I loved these. I have such a distinct memory of reading this at a 4th of July parade. Like, these just have a really distinct memory in my mind of when I got through them all in one summer, but I think I'm going to get rid of them, and I will be sure. I will look up online the synopsis and find out if it has that really gross romance. So, yeah. I agree. I agree that there's no reason to have that kind of shit on here, but I don't remember if it's accurate, and it really does matter because I remember liking them. But if it is accurate, I don't want them on my shelves anymore, and it's time to get rid of them. What else? Amy and Roger's Epic Detour by Morgan Matson. I actually really liked this book. This is an alternative format. What is in here? There's just a random piece of paper in here. I have no idea what this is. It was definitely not my bookmark when I read this book. Maybe, oh, you know what? I loaned this to my sister. She probably left her bookmark in here. I think I'm going to keep this. I actually really, really liked this. It was good. It was about, like, grief, but it's also told in alternative format a bunch of the time. Hey, I just opened up to the part that takes place in Utah. That's kind of fun. But it was cute and also serious, and the only Morgan Matson book I've ever really liked. So, I'm going to keep that. It's definitely a cute book. What should I go through my TBR? I have a stack of TBR books here that I should probably decide if I'm actually going to read, and you can determine if I should read them. Here's one that I don't think Dylan's here. I think Dylan wound up being at work, but I just keep thinking about the things he would yell at me for getting rid of. Let me see if he's actually... Dylan, are you here? No? Okay. I have one shelf's worth of TBR books. So, like, one length of shelf. That's how many TBR books I have. And we're just going to go through these. So we have Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zippia. This is the one Dylan would kill me if I got rid of. He loves this book. And a lot of people, they said it reminded them of Fangirl. And I really love Fangirl. It makes me feel things in my heart. So I think I'm going to keep this around because I'm still planning on reading it. And this has gotten so many incredible reviews. like the number of people who loved this book. So I'm gonna keep that. Perfect 10 by L. Phillips. Let's see. Hey, I'm glad I am motivating you to clean. I understand the need for motivation because I've been having a hard time as well trying to get motivation to clean and to pack. So this book is like a male romance. Yeah. Some people are already being like, nah, get rid of it. Could stay or go. Wasn't my fave, it was okay. So yeah, I think I'm gonna get rid of this. I've been trying to decide on this for a while. It was one of my most anticipated releases the year it came out, but I've lost interest and I've never read it, and I've owned it for almost a year, so I'm probably not going to read that. Oh, I definitely agree. Let's see. Fans of Eliza and Fangirl need to read Radio Silence. As someone who's only read Fangirl, and heard good stuff about Eliza, like, definitely recommend. I guess speaking of Fangirl, I'm keeping Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. I talked about this book when I did a video about, like, books that describe my personality, describe who I am, and Fangirl was one of the books on that list. I love it, so I'm keeping it. If you like books about fandom and also books that get into school stress, college stress, anxiety, all of that kind of stuff, Fangirl is a great one. I've heard Eliza is a perfect one, and Radio Silence made me sob in the middle of the night. So I'm keeping Fangirl. Radio Silence. Oh, yes, it has already been 31 minutes. This is going to be a long live stream. So Radio Silence is about, I just read it last night. I just barely finished it. So it's about a girl named Frances, and she is trying to finish up school, and she has these really big dreams of going to Cambridge. It's kind of like the only thing that matters. But the other thing that keeps her going, and what she has loved for years and years, is a podcast called Universe City, which, if you guys have ever listened to Welcome to Night Vale, it's pretty clear that it's inspired by Welcome to Night Vale. She listens to it all the time, and the creator is notoriously unknown. And then Frances is contacted by the creator of the podcast and asked to do fan art for it. And she also meets a boy named Aled, and they kind of become best friends. And she goes out of her way to do this whole thing that, like, just because we're a boy and a girl, it doesn't mean we're going to fall in love. And they don't. It's just about best friends. But Frances is bisexual. Aled is, let's go with queer. There's a whole storyline involved with Aled, and Radio Silence has a bunch of also, like, on-page POC rep. It says the word demisexual, describes what demisexual means, and it is included, and I loved it. So, yeah, everyone, please go read Radio Silence. It's absolutely brilliant. Don't forget about your water. Thank you. I'll take a drink. Yeah, so it says the word demisexual. A character in the book identifies as demisexual and explains what that means to another human being. So if you're looking for that, I know it's really rare. And the main character is bisexual and biracial. It's really, really good. I absolutely recommend it. Demisexual lands on the asexual spectrum, but there is more information online if you want more expert descriptions of what demisexual means. Go check it out. Let's keep moving on with the TBR. Let's go with Georgia Peach is Another Forbidden Fruit by J. Robin Brown. This has a lesbian main character, and I know that she is, like, super out and proud, and she has a preacher father, and then her family winds up moving to a new town, and she goes back in the closet just to help with the transition, basically. I've heard that this has a really sweet female-female romance, but I've also heard some questionable stuff about the rep itself. Like, maybe it has some biphobia issues? Does anyone know? If not, if it doesn't, but I want to read it because it has a female-female romance. But if it has, like, some issues, then I don't want to read it. So who's read this? Should I read it? Should I not read it? Let's keep an eye on the chat. Don't remember. Woo! I am thrilled about Leah on the Offbeat. Oh my god. I am actually just about to pre-order that. I know it's coming out soon, but I'm definitely pre-ordering Leah because I cannot wait to read it. What? Oh my god. I'm thrilled. I think I'm possibly going to keep this. It seems like the general consensus is that people are kind of be interested in this and me reading this. Yeah, so some other people are also curious if this has toxic bi rep. Keep me updated if people know about this. I'm going to be looking into more Goodreads reviews, but yes, also I've heard that it's good about dealing with sexuality and in a religious context, which is a thing I'm interested in. So, going to tentatively keep that. Woo! Why is it not letting you? Oh, is it because it says fucking? I just got like a note that I had to approve something. Yeah, I'm cool with language, everyone. All right, let's go. Golden Boy by Abigail Tartlin. This has an intersex main character. No, you're cool. I'm cool with saying fuck. It's okay. I was really more confused why YouTube wasn't letting me. I've heard some pretty universally good things about this. Mostly, I just know that it has an intersex main character. But I think I'm going to keep this, even though I have to read this by the end of the year because I've owned it for 2 years and haven't touched it yet. Oh, that's right! Thank you for someone in the chat knowing my plans better than me. Golden Boy is, in fact, on my top 12 TBR for the year, isn't it? Let me confirm that before I decide if I'm going to get rid of this. Yeah. I can't get rid of this. Thank you, person who knows my TBR that well. I needed that reminder. I'm keeping that. No, yeah. I frequently have people remind me of books that are on specific TBRs that I've completely forgotten about because I'm a disaster. Let's move on. So we also have Three Daughters of Eve by Alif Shafak, which came in a Page Habit box. I'm definitely reading this. This is talking about feminism. I am a disaster gay. Completely accurate. I'm trying to remember exactly how it phrases it. Yeah, basically it's about 3 women and their arguments about Islam and feminism and being in college and years and years after college and conflict. Yeah, so I'm keeping this. This sounds really interesting. Can I get a shout out for all of the people who are saying they are disaster gays? What a mood. I am a disaster gay. I'm disaster bi. Yes, apply it across the board. I'm sorry. I personally am a disaster gay. But shout out to all of the people who are owning up to me. Thank you, everybody. This is what I want to hear. Disaster queer. I mean, this is making my heart warm, everybody. Disaster ace. Hello, my people. I get you. Okay. Moving on. Now that we've all decided that we're disasters, Bygone Badass Broads, I'm keeping. It's by Mackenzie Lee. It's a nonfiction book that just came out in February and was just barely sent to me. Haven't read it yet, but it's gonna be great, so I'm keeping it. That one's not even a question. I'm gonna set aside that book I took from my sister so I can remember to give it back to her. Did I say bi gay? I mean, I believe that. It's just part of my disastrous nature. Bisaster. Take ownership, everyone. All right, so this is an arc I'm also keeping because it has not come out yet. This is Drumroll Please by Lisa Jen Bigelow. This is a middle grade book that I took and agreed to read because it's about a bi girl who is 12, I think. I mean, it's middle grade about a bisexual main character that I think possibly has a female-female romance. This is coming out in June of this year, so keep an eye out. Yeah, definitely keep an eye out because it seems like it's going to be great. So I'm keeping that because it's an arc. Do I have other arcs that haven't come out yet? Yes. Another arc I'm keeping because the book isn't out yet is Undead Girl Gang by Lily Anderson. This comes out in May of this year, and it's got all of the good reviews. It's got all of the hype. I'm thrilled about it. Who's anticipating this? Because I'm super excited about this book, and I'm so into the cover and always have been. It's getting incredible reviews. I'm so excited Penguin sent this to me, so no question. You know, I bet there has got to be an enamel pin with Disaster Queer on it. It just, like, I feel Kate Leth in my heart. Does she have something that has that on it? Because I feel like whenever I think enamel pins and queer stuff, I think of Kate Leth. Maybe it's because I'm in love with Kate Leth, but that's another story. Chaotic Pan pins, yes. Okay, so next we have that Inevitable Victorian Thing by E.K. Johnston. I know almost nothing about this book, honestly. I accepted it because, like, it looks really cool and it's supposed to have queer rep. I'm not sure what the rep is, but yeah, like, look at this cover. It's beautiful. So let's what are some reviews of this book? Want to read it? Ooh, did I miss that some people are here? Yes. Hi, Sylvia. I didn't know you were here. Hello. I'm glad that you're here. I have heard incredible things about the fat rep in Undead Girl Gang. That's one of the main things I've heard. I'm pretty sure it has a fat Cuban main character and queer side characters. I'm thrilled. This book I know almost nothing about. I've heard some stuff that gets boring, but it also has a really pretty cover. So, yes. Slow but worth it. I think I'm going to keep this one. It has too beautiful a cover to get rid of, honestly, if I'm going to be real about it. Yeah. Let's see. Trying to keep up with the chat. There are so many of you here. Hello, everyone who's hanging out. I hope you're all having a nice evening. Next we have At the Edge of the Universe by Sean Hutchinson. I'm keeping this. Like, just going to add that. Oh, Rachel, hello. Yes, of course I am keeping your book. Actually, I feel like now I'm just talking directly to Rachel. Your book is in storage in Pennsylvania, so it's not going anywhere. It has already been transported, and it's wonderful. In case you guys haven't read Axiom: The Last Hope by R.M. Piercy, you should do that. It's a fabulous book, and I would never get rid of it. At the Edge of the Universe, yes, Sean David Hutchinson is an auto keep in CC Land. Actually, I did get rid of his most recent book, The Apocalypse of Elena Mendoza. I did actually get rid of that. But I'm keeping this. I've heard, like, mixed things, but this is going to be a Sean David Hutchinson themed year of reading. I've already read one. I'm planning on reading that, and I also want to read The 5 Stages of Andrew Brawley. Dylan does know. So when I told him I didn't like The Apocalypse of Elena Mendoza, it was rough, everybody. It was rough, but we got through it as friends, so it's gonna be okay. What else? Codependent No More isn't actually my book. It's my mom's, so I'm keeping it because I can't really get rid of someone else's book. What else do we have here? Ooh. Let's see. Ooh, okay. Emily, what series did you give up? Now I'm interested. I want to know. I want to know what you gave up. I have not watched American Horror Story Cult yet. I'm not going to watch it until it, like, pops up on Netflix, but I will give it a shot. I've watched all the other series, so I'm definitely going to watch it, but I haven't seen it yet. Oh, I'm interested. No, I want to know what series you're giving up on. I'm excited. Son of the Mob by Gordon Corman. I haven't actually heard of that one. Well, I'm glad that I inspired you to give up a series. It's been a thing I've been trying to do more lately is if I'm truly not invested in a series, I can DNF it. It's going to be okay. So we also have The Reader. This is by Tracy Chee. It is book 1 of the Sea of Ink and Gold series, and I'm keeping this. This seems like it's going to be a really fantastic YA fantasy. That's kind of all I need to know. I've been keeping that one on hold, but I definitely need to read it. Let's see. Okay, people are telling me they're getting rid of books that they didn't like, but now you're not going to tell me what? You're not going to tell me what you guys are getting rid of? You gave up on Beautiful Creatures? That's a good call. That is a self-care call. I spent way too long pretending I wasn't going to give up Beautiful Creatures. Which Sean David Hutchinson book should you read first? That's hard. I've only read 2 of his books, so I want to recommend We Are the Ants because it's one of my favorite books, as opposed to The Apocalypse of Elena Mendoza, which I thought was pretty good. So I personally recommend We Are the Ants. I think it's an incredible book. Got rid of Throne of Glass. I got rid of my Throne of Glass books a little while ago. That was also a self-care kind of move. I also don't understand why Beautiful Creatures wasn't a standalone. Giving up on Lilac Girls. Okay. Let's see. Lunar Chronicles. Oh, I was actually just about to ask about the Lunar Chronicles. So, I haven't read Winter yet. Basically, my plan this year is I have a few series, 5 of them that are on a list that I either have to finish or DNF by the end of the year. Lunar Chronicles is one of those books. Let's see. Keep. I know that I can't believe I haven't read this yet. Interrupting myself to say, giving up on Ready Player One, self-care move, best decision. I have a video on Ready Player One that's it's honestly a pretty tame negative review of Ready Player One. I would rip it apart if I did it now. And, to this day, I get daily comments of guys on that video telling me just horrible, horrific things. So I don't even have that book in my life anymore, and it's still affecting me. It will never leave me alone. Love yourself and give up on Ready Player One. I think I still want to finish the Lunar Chronicles. I know that this seems out of date. Everyone read the Lunar Chronicles 100 years ago, but thank you, Sylvia, very, very much. I appreciate it. Sometimes I have Janelle go through my Ready Player One comments. She has responded to a couple of them for me, blocked a couple of people for me. Most of the time I can handle it. It's just garbage. Okay. Sorry, I'll refocus. This is an 800-page book, and that is why I haven't read it yet. Because it's an intimidatingly long book, and I haven't read the other books in the series for 3 years, but I do truly want to finish the series. So I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep this, just like I'm going to keep the rest of the books. I don't know where they are, so I can't really pull them out of the stack. We'll get to them. Furyborn is here. It is by Claire Legrand. It comes out in May of this year. It's a YA fantasy, but I'm keeping it because it's an arc that I haven't read yet and has not been released yet. I have read Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I can't see them. Oh, yes, I can. They're at the bottom of a stack. I'll talk about those later, but I'm definitely keeping them. Okay. We also have The Hearts We Sold, and this is by Emily Lloyd-Jones. I'm planning on keeping this. I think this came in an Owlcrate box a while ago. It's got demons in it. I'm easy to please. I love demons, I love angels, and it's not because of Supernatural. It started earlier than that. But I do love stories about demons and angels. So, we've also got The Immortalists by Chloe Benjamin. I'm not getting rid of this for multiple reasons. This came in Page Habit, so it's got annotations by the author in here. But also, it's one of my most anticipated releases of this year, and Janelle wants to read it. So even if I didn't want to read it, I'd still be keeping it. I'd still be transporting it across the country. That's staying. That one does have a beautiful, beautiful cover. Hello. Hello, people. I have not read Renegades. I don't know if I want to read Renegades, honestly. I read a lot of superhero fiction. I love superhero stories, but more and more I don't know. Renegade seems interesting, but I don't think it's for me. So I'm not planning on reading it. People who are discussing Buffy, yes, thank you. I love all of you. Buffy was not one of the early ones I got into, but it definitely fit into my love of demons and that kind of storyline. If you're curious what started my love of demons and angels, it was the movie Hellboy. Honestly, I watched that when I was really, really young. It influenced everything that I've loved about demons and angels since then. Let's see. I tried to watch the Arrowverse stuff. I can't really get into the DC shows, so I haven't. I've watched like the first season of Arrow. I've watched a few episodes of The Flash, a few episodes of Legends of Tomorrow. The only one that I would really give a chance at this point is Black Lightning, which I haven't seen any of, but I've heard it's incredible. What did I just saw? A question. Have I watched the new Pacific Rim? Yes. Yes, I have seen the new Pacific Rim. So, I love Pacific Rim 1. I think it's fantastic. I think the second one was good, but it doesn't have like the heart and soul that the first one had. And I love John Boyega in it. I love a lot of people who were involved in it. My science guys, who I love so deeply. I love my science guys. And I love Charlie Day embracing the fact that he thinks they're hella gay. Thank you, Charlie. So do I. So I liked it, but it didn't become like a movie I loved the way Pacific Rim is a movie I love. It's good, but I don't think it lives up to the first movie. The science gays are so important. I don't watch Winona Earp. Why can I never say her last name? I haven't watched the show, but believe me, I have been told by many a person that I need to watch it. So, okay. Hush Hush has been sitting on my shelf for years. Should I keep it? No. I could go into it more. Hush Hush is one of those books that was coming out at the time of like Twilight, when we were doing a lot of paranormal fantasy that had super problematic relationships. I think Hush Hush has an abusive kind of gross relationship at the center of it. So I read the first 2 books in the series, wound up not finishing it. So kind of not into it. I have also seen A Quiet Place. We're totally getting off pace, but people are asking me about movies, and that's like my favorite subject outside of books. I loved A Quiet Place. I don't like scary movies. I can't sit through scary movies. I loved A Quiet Place. I would go see it in a theater again. I can't wait to watch it a bunch more times. It was one of the most inventive, heartbreaking, well-made movies I've ever seen. So, truly recommend A Quiet Place. It's a little scary, but mostly it's just anxiety inducing. People are keeping an eye on my hydration levels. Let's see. Thoughts on Black Panther? Fabulous. Have I watched Scooby Natural? No, but I saved it to watch despite the fact that I haven't watched a new episode of Supernatural in 3 years. I'm definitely watching Scooby Natural. Just because I love Scooby-Doo with my whole heart, and I have since I was a kid, and I loved Supernatural for a lot of years, so the combo, it's gotta happen. My people talking about the Raven cycle? Still can't even speak words about it. Let's get back into books, maybe. Let's go with The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin, which I am definitely keeping. 100%. I haven't read it yet, but I've heard almost universally 5-star reviews as far as interesting fantasy, so I'm keeping it. I feel like I've talked about why I stopped watching Supernatural. I was getting annoyed with it for a long time because I felt like it was going downhill, and also they kept killing women, and they finally killed off a woman that I couldn't abide by them killing. I know that some recent stuff has happened with that, but I cannot forgive a show that spent 10 years murdering women. And like not even 10 years, it's still happening. So I just decided that that was really a self-care option too. I was way too invested in it, and I think it needed to end after season 5. I invested too much of my personal happiness in that show, and it's been a healthier time since I stopped watching it. So that's why I don't watch Supernatural anymore. I would consider rewatching the first 5 seasons, but that's about it. This is another book that I am definitely keeping. This is The Demon King by Cinda Williams Chima. It's a YA fantasy series that I'm keeping because, like, oh, it's on my top 12. That's right. It's on my top 12 TBR, so I'm keeping it. Man, this is getting messy. It is getting messy up here. Meddling Kids does have a nice cover, and I cannot wait to read it. Yes, I read the Opal short story. I went to a Barnes & Noble, like, 3 days before it was released digitally, and I read it in the Starbucks in a Barnes & Noble, cried about it in the Starbucks, and then 3 days later I read it on a digital copy, and then I reread it again. I have a lot of feelings about it. I think it's wonderful, but I've definitely read it. Let's see. Have I read A Court of Thorns and Roses? Yes, but I haven't finished the series. I understand needing to stop watching Game of Thrones. I think that that's like, I understand that. I understand needing to give up Game of Thrones. I'm still watching it. I'm still going to watch the last season. I've really gone back and forth on whether or not I love it, but I'm definitely going to finish the show still. Okay, Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. This I actually put on a list back in December of books I anticipate that I'm going to give 5 stars. So I would never get rid of this. This is supposed to be like a really interesting sci-fi book, and it has received so many good reviews. Yes, this cover is different than a lot of the covers that other people have. I prefer that other cover, but I think this one has kind of a cool, like, classic sci-fi movie cover thing going on. So I like this cover personally, but I'm keeping it. What kind of rep? Let's see. What kind of rep does wow, A Long Way to a Smaller Angry Planet have? I believe it has a female romance and a bunch of, like, people of color who are characters. So, I've heard it's super diverse in that way. Space gaze. That's basically what I know about it. We've also got The Memory Trees by Kali Wallace. I know almost nothing about this book. So I read the description for this, and it gave me such a vibe of, like, it gave me a vibe between, like, The Raven Cycle and Wild Beauty. So I've kept hold of it, despite the fact that I haven't read it, but I've heard nothing about this. Do people have feelings about The Memory Trees? Am I going to be hyping it too much if I'm comparing it to The Raven Cycle and Wild Beauty? I know we aren't doing much Unhauling. I'm sorry. I'm working on it. Worth a shot? Is that the... Yeah. I don't know. It reminds me of some books I really, really loved. So, I think I'm going to keep that one. Do you guys want me to get into some stuff I'm thinking of unhauling? Let's see. What have I got over here? What am I less invested in? Oh, I know a thing we could talk about that I need some people to talk me into getting rid of. The Wolves of Mercy Fall series by Maggie Stiefvater. So, I loved this series. When I originally read it, I read it right after Twilight and loved it so much more than Twilight because I was invested in the idea of a paranormal romance, but I loved these. I know it's Maggie Stiefvater, but I've since read so many books. I've since read so many books by Maggie that I love more. So, I know everyone, like, hates these books. I really liked them. I don't think I'm going to reread them, though. Okay. Oh, nah. I've been thinking about getting rid of those, and that was hard. That was actually hard on me because I loved them. Oh my god. I'm just gonna start throwing books at myself now. The Art of Asking by Amanda Palmer. This is a memoir by Amanda Palmer, who is one of my favorite artists. I've never read it, but I love her, and I love memoirs by cool ladies. So, I'm gonna keep that. I have not read The Scorpio Races. I have not read The Scorpio Races by Maggie Stiefvater, but it is on my top 12 to read this year, TBR, so I'm keeping it. I've heard awesome things about this book, so I'm keeping that one for sure. Thank you for shouting that out, and thank you for it being easy to get to. We could go through some more Shannon Hale. We've got these. Oh my god. This is what I mean. This is what I mean about being a disaster gay. So these are the books of Bairn. The first one started out as a retelling of The Goose Girl, which is a fairy tale. These are all signed, which is why I have had them for as long as I have, because every single one of these books in this series is signed. So I love them. Here's what I'm thinking. I definitely want to get rid of Forestborn. It's my least favorite in the series. I think it's the most disconnected from the rest of the books. So, I think I'm getting rid of Forestborn. It's hurting my Shannon Hale heart to do some of this. Here's the problem. I love these books. I don't know if I'm ever going to reread them, but I love them. Anna Burning is my favorite in the series, if you're curious. It goes Anna Burning, Goose Girl, River Secrets, Forestborn. I think I'm going to keep these. They're signed, and I love them very much, and they're some of my favorite Shannon Hale books. So, I'm keeping this series, and we've got to move up another shelf. We're out of room on these two shelves. I could stack these better. How am I going to make more room? Bear with me, guys. I'm trying to make room here. Okay. That should give me some space. Okay. This is better. This is better, everyone. Don't worry. The bottom shelf I am saving for some bigger books that I have to get rid of. I have some coffee table books I'm going to be talking about. We have not unhauled 5 books. Excuse me, we have unhauled 13. 13. Okay. We've got Brooding YA Hero. Is this good? Is this good? No, I'm not being sassy, I promise. I'm judging myself. Brooding YA Hero is nonfiction. It's supposed to be kind of fun. Is this by Sky Pony Press? Sky Pony Press is going through some stuff right now. Don't know that this is necessarily a book I want to support. But also I haven't heard incredible things about it. Am I good with just reading the Twitter? Because I like the Twitter. Yeah? Pretty much? Okay. There. 14. I want to keep American Panda by Gloria Chow. This came out this year. It's been getting some hype. It's about college, and it's going to be great. So, I'm keeping it. Plus, it has the cutest cover in the world. I'm so in love with it. We've also got Autobiography. Hi, everybody. Wow, it just keeps... Sky Pony Press... again, I'm trying to keep out of talking about super controversy within the book community, but Sky Pony Press just kind of got closed down, the imprint itself, without warning, and all of the editors were let go. It was kind of a situation, and I'm really not impressed with it. So, it's kind of the reason I'm unhappy with that publishing company right now. Autobiography is a brilliant, brilliant, beautiful book. I also talked about this when I talked about books that explain who I am. This one explains how I feel about my sexuality and a religion that I grew up being a part of. This is Also super tabbed up because it's a manuscript, like it's bound. So it's written all over too. My penciled notes are all over in it, and I love it. I absolutely love it. If you haven't read this book yet, you should read it. That's basically what I'm here to say. It's beautiful. I don't even necessarily want a hardcover because I love my like bound cover of this book so much and my little notes. I don't even think I want to get a hardcover. Oh man. Okay, so we've got Memory Palace. This is by Hari Kunzru. I read this because I had to read it when I went and did my London semester. This is a very like alternative format kind of book. Most of it is just sort of weird and stuff's going on in it. This was good and I liked it. We were talking a lot when I was in London about how spaces hold memory and the value of certain places and times. But it hasn't stuck with me. So I think I'm going to get rid of that. Man, that book has been with me a lot of places. That book was with me in another country. We've also got From the Mixed Up Files of Mrs. Basil E. Frankweiler by E. L. Konigsberg, which I'm keeping because this was a gift, a dear, dear gift from my grandmother who loves this book, and we love reading, both of us, and so I'm keeping this book. I'm pretty sure it has some of her like underlined notes in it, which is also really valuable. I like that book. I haven't read it in a lot of years, but she gave it to me when I went to college, so I'm keeping it. I wonder if she's watching. She has a tendency to watch my live shows, and then I never know until days later. So, Grammy, if you're watching this by any chance, hello. Of course, I'm keeping your book. So, I just grabbed The Sea of Trolls by Nancy Farmer. I haven't actually read this physical copy. This is another one of those books. When I was younger, I actually liked audiobooks. I don't listen to them anymore, but when I would go on road trips with my family, we would always listen to audiobooks, and this is one of the ones I listened to. I remember this being like a cool Viking fantasy, and I love Nancy Farmer. Like, her book, House of the Scorpion, is one of my favorite books. I don't talk about it nearly enough. It's a really, really interesting book that I'm going to keep. I'm thinking it might be time to get rid of The Sea of Trolls. I love it. I never actually read this physical copy. I never continued on with the series, and I feel like that's a sign. So, there we go. Unhauled, everyone. Another book gone. This is such an overwhelming pile. Let's see. Well, let's answer some questions and stuff. What is one of your favorite LGBT plus based books? I have a ton. I have so many. What are some of my favorites? Almost Like Being in Love. That is a beautiful book. Jane Unlimited. That's wonderful. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo is fantastic. Or Wild Beauty is amazing. Not Your Sidekick and Not Your Villain. I'm trying to think of Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda. Juliet Takes a Breath. We Are the Ants. I'm trying to think of like every LGBT book. Everything Leads to You. Yes, thank you. Totally agree. A Fire and Stars. Every Heart a Doorway. Miseducation of Cameron Post. Fried Green Tomatoes. The Color Purple. Two Boys Kissing. Peter Darling. Aristotle and Dante. Definitely. All right. That's a lot of books. I have a lot of videos on my channel about this, so please check them out. Books with asexual main characters. Hold on one sec. Okay, so I just barely read Let's Talk About Love by Claire Kahn, which is, this book came out at the beginning of 2018. It's fantastic. The main character is biromantic and asexual. I loved this book. If you're looking for ace rep, pick up this book. I adore it. Let's Talk About Love. I also love Every Heart a Doorway by Shannon McGuire. That has good ace rep. Tosh Hearts Tolstoy by Catherine Ormsby is pretty good. Of the ones I've mentioned, it's my least favorite. But Tosh Hearts Tolstoy and Every Heart a Doorway. are, I mean, not, sorry, and Let's Talk About Love, Every Heart a Doorway, generally my favorites. Oh, and like I said, Radio Silence has a character on the A spectrum who is demisexual, so. 2018 is seeming like the year of amazing YA books, for sure. It is 2018. Let's bless up for that. Let's see. I'm trying to get through these. I have not read The Astonishing Color of After. I've heard it's really fantastic though. I have not read Lies We Tell Ourselves. Is that the Robin Talley book? Maybe I actually have that. If it's the book I'm thinking of, I didn't really love it. It had some more. I think that it was stepping on some toes. I'm definitely going to read Hank Green's book, for sure. I'm not going to read Carve the Mark. Ever. I didn't love The Fifth Wave. It was fine. But I got rid of it. That's pretty much my full summary of that. I am really excited about In Other Lands this year. I'm planning on reading that. Willow. Oh man, this is off topic. How did you feel about Willow and Kennedy in Buffy? So, I don't want to talk too much about this for fear of spoilers. I'm not going to be doing Buffy spoilers. I didn't really like Kennedy, and therefore I didn't really like Willow and Kennedy. That's kind of my non-spoilery version of how I feel about their relationship. I don't know who's your best and worst American Horror Story character. Man, that show has some weird characters. I think my favorites all come from Hotel, which is my favorite season. Lady Gaga is a goddess, and I love her. I don't know who my least favorite is. Probably someone from Freak Show, Dandy. He was pretty terrible. The Countess is definitely, I love her. All right, we should get back into books. We have some books. Since I talked about all of these as being my favorite LGBT books, I'm going to keep them all. So that's Not Your Sidekick and Not Your Villain. That's Wild Beauty by Anna Marie McLemore, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. If you haven't read this book, read this book. Let's see, Jane Unlimited, for sure I love. Almost Like Being in Love, definitely. So those are all staying, since I listed them as favorites. Let's see, someone just asked about Heroes of Olympus. Where are my Heroes of Olympus books? Here we go. I've read The Lost Hero. I liked it. This is one of these series that's on my list of I either have to read it or DNF it by the end of the year. So I've read this one and I liked it. I'm going to keep that book for now. I also own book 3, The Mark of Athena. I haven't read book 2 yet. So I'm going to, for now, keep The Mark of Athena, but I'm giving myself until I actually move, which is going to be in July, to read this. And if I haven't by then, I'm DNFing the series and I will get rid of The Mark of Athena. I know a lot of people love these books and love Rick Riordan. I do too. I love the Percy Jackson series, but it's just been so many years that I'm often overwhelmed by the concept of catching up on Rick Riordan. So, yeah. Maybe I'll read it. Maybe I won't. For now, I am keeping the books. I'm going to have a drink without even being reminded. So, I hope you're all proud of me. Good night to the people who have to go to sleep. I know it's really late. So good night. Thank you for sticking around when you did. Congrats on moving into your first apartment in July. Let's see. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the love on me drinking water. All right. Someone just asked a Chronicles of Narnia question. What is your least favorite Chronicles of Narnia book to your favorite? Oh, I don't know if I can rank them because it's been so long since I've read them. I can tell you my favorite and my least favorite though. I can tell you that my least favorite is, my least favorite Narnia book is The Horse and His Boy, which is book 5. If you read them in publication order, it's just kind of take it or leave it. I don't love it. My favorite book in the series is The Voyage of the Dawn Treader. I love The Voyage of the Dawn Treader. Still think about it all the time, despite the fact that I haven't read these books since I was probably 10. I think that's the last time I actually read them. A Horse and His Boy is your favorite? Okay. Oh, I've talked about this before. So Sylvia asked which order I would recommend for Chronicles of Narnia. What's weird is that I've never read them in chronological order. When I read them originally, I read them in publication order, which is starting with The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I personally prefer publication order just because I like consuming media in the order the author intended. That's the order C.S. Lewis wrote them in, and so I personally prefer it that way. I also think it's fun to kind of discover some hidden mysteries closer to the end of the series instead of having those reveals earlier on. I deeply prefer publication order, but I understand those who like chronological. Yeah, I think we are still at 16 books unhauled. Thank you for those of you who are keeping track. Let's get rid of a whole bunch that I'm keeping. How about that? Like a real big stack. I am keeping all 13 books in the series of Unfortunate Events series. So there's some through 7. There we go. I am keeping all 13 books. I love these books too much. I know that they're like, this is a ridiculous transportation situation, but I love these. So I'm keeping them. Oh no, I'm running out of room again. Oh god. Let's try to get these up here. So people who are asking me about A Series of Unfortunate Events, the TV show, I watched the first season and I had a lot of issues with it just for like, I don't know, a number of reasons. I don't think that it gets the tone of the books right, and I'm very, very, very protective of these books. So I haven't decided yet if I'm actually going to watch season 2. I know that I said I was going to do like discussion videos for the whole show, but I really have to decide if it's worth it to me to watch season 2. I've heard good things though from other people. I've heard that it's good. All right, those are up there. I am exactly. I unhauled 13, so I'm keeping 13. I am getting rid of all middle grade except for those, because those still have so much deep meaning to me. They're the reason I started reading. I read them before I read Harry Potter, so I could never get rid of them. Let's see. What is this? Ursula K. Le Guin, The Left Hand of Darkness. This was a Christmas gift. I just barely got it from my uncle, so I'm going to read it. Okay, so this is one of the ones that I'm unsure of. Actually, this is Your Welcome Universe, by Whitney Gardner. Oh no, Celia, did you say I should get rid of The Left Hand of Darkness? Oh no. I know that some people don't really love it. I'm planning on keeping it. My Ursula K. Le Guin is my uncle's favorite author, and he's been trying to get me to read them for like my entire life. So this is one of those cases that I'm worried it's going to be boring, but I think I'm going to read it because my uncle and I both read, and he really wants me to read this series that he loves, or this book that he loves, and so I think I'm gonna read it for my uncle. Your Welcome Universe by Whitney Gardner. How do people feel about this? Because I have owned it for a very long time, and I just haven't read it. But if people think that it's a good one, then I definitely want to keep it around. So, people read Your Welcome Universe? Keep. It's not for everyone. Yes. Okay. I think I was feeling like I was probably going to keep this book, so I will. I want to read that one. Actually, I think Janelle gave me that book for a birthday a few years ago. Sorry, I haven't read that, babe. I'll work on it. Yes, you guys are enabling me. You're just letting me keep everything. All right, I'm definitely keeping A Fire and Stars. This is not only an arc, it is a signed arc, And I love this book. It's like super important to me. So I'm not getting rid of that. Could never. All right. I have read, I have definitely read The Shadow of the Wind. It wasn't my favorite, but I have a hard time with historical fiction, so that's kind of on me. Just say no to everything. Oh man, wait till I pull these out. You're gonna have a hard time being like, you have to get rid of it. So we've got The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. Let's see if you guys can hold strong on your you have to get rid of the next thing situation. There we go. Ooh. You know, this is actually more split than I thought it was going to be. I don't have the passion for the Hunger Games that I once did. I truly do not. I loved them initially, but I don't have the passion. Oh, I don't know. I've been trying to decide if I haven't read these since I was in junior high, which was a lot of years ago. So I've been trying to decide if it's a series that I want to revisit as an adult. That's really the only reason I've been keeping them around. Not because I think about them all the time and like I'm always like, oh man, I've got to reread this favorite series. It's not a favorite series, but I've been thinking about the value in revisiting them with like an older worldview. When I read these originally, I was Katniss's age. Not only was I Katniss's age, my sister was Prim's age. So picture that for yourself. So what are we thinking? Oh, people are getting too real over here. Who needs to read The Hunger Games when you're already living it? Keep. All right. My girlfriend does not have copies. Janelle doesn't actually love The Hunger Games very much. She read them, but she doesn't love them very much. So these are the only copies. I think I'm gonna keep them for a little longer. I think I want to revisit them with my older perspective on life, I guess. So I think I'm gonna keep them around. Can I fit more? Right here? Yes, I can. I am not planning on keeping any doubles of what my girlfriend has. That is already the plan. We've pretty much narrowed it down to, we only have one copy of everything that we own, but yeah. Nevada by Imogen Binney. I just barely read this. It was a super interesting, like, meandering, internal kind of book, and I think it's one that I want to revisit again and just think about some of the stuff that's in here, like queer discourse, feminist discourse, trans stuff especially. It was a really interesting book, so I'm gonna keep this. Ooh, it's getting kind of cold in here. This is what happens when you live in the basement, people. It just gets freezing. Next, we have The Long Walk by Stephen King. I think I'm keeping this. It's weird that I just barely talked about The Hunger Games because I feel pretty deeply that this was inspiration for The Hunger Games. And I really like Stephen King. So I'm also trying to remember, you know what? I'm definitely keeping this. I think Janelle wanted to read this and I'm the one who owns it. So I'm keeping it for my girlfriend, guys. He is my author this year. So every year I pick an author and I determine that I'm going to read 2 of their books that are new to me. And Stephen King is my author this year. Janelle is, between the two of us, Janelle's the Stephen King fanatic. She owns a ton of books by him and I'm probably going to read books that she has. So yeah. I'm planning on eventually doing a combined bookshelf tour when Janelle and I move in together and we actually have shelves set up and everything. That's the plan. Oh. Stephen King's books are very, very long. I've read a lot of them. I think my favorite's The Green Mile of the ones that I've read. I really like The Green Mile, but I like The Long Walk a lot. I am getting notifications. Goodness gracious. All right. Should we get through the last of the TBR books? I think I only have 2 left. Yeah? Yeah, I only have 2 TBR books left. When Dimple Met Rishi by Sandhya Menon. I'm planning on keeping this. I don't know if I'm going to read the sequel. I haven't read this first one yet, but I've heard such incredible things about it. So, we also have Princesses Behaving Badly. This is a brand new to me book that is nonfiction. It's about princesses in history. It's new to me, so I'm going to keep it. Whew. The Shining book or movie. I have not read The Shining. I've seen the movie. I couldn't even get through the end of it. I was so scared. I can't handle scary movies. I can handle scary books. And I also know that the book for The Shining is a lot different than the movie. So I think one of my 2 Stephen King books this year is going to be The Shining. Yeah. That's all the TBR books, though. Everything else here I've read, which should make it a little easier. Let's unhaul something. 13 Little Blue Envelopes by Maureen Johnson. I love this book. I do. I've read it multiple times. I read it once when I was younger and once when I was traveling around. I know, I'm sorry, Sylvia. I love this book. I think that I want to unhaul it and eventually get a better cover. This was recently re-released in a paperback that has a much nicer cover and doesn't look quite so early 2000s. So I think for now, I'm going to get rid of this, and I will eventually repurchase a copy that I like a lot more. I love this book. I definitely recommend it, but I'm going to unhaul that. That is another book that has been around the world with me. Good gracious. I would probably not read it, the Stephen King book. I think it's too long, and I have heard from some reviewers that it's got, like, Stephen King can get problematic sometimes, but that book in particular has some real issues. I like the new movie. Somehow I can watch it. I don't know how, but yeah. I don't think I'm going to read the book. We also have 84 Charing Cross Road by Helene Hanff. This is a nonfiction book. It's a collection of emails and letters between this woman who lived in New York and this London bookseller. It's really sweet. If you love books, then I recommend it, but I'm keeping it. Oof. Yeah, yep. These are all the things I have heard about it. Really questionable scene, some underage stuff that was really bad, weird sexual content. This is all that I've heard. This is all that I've heard about it. So, Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. I really liked this book. I did. But I'm thinking about getting rid of it. Which I know is going to be an unlikely thing to hear from me. So, I think my problem with this book is that I liked it, but I didn't love it. It didn't nearly live up to my expectations, and while I liked the romance, I was kind of unsure about it. I'm not planning on reading the sequel. Just also because of, I don't know. I'm not planning on reading the sequel. Janelle didn't like this book. She read it, so I'm not keeping it for her. And I don't know if I would ever reread it. Which I think is what we're kind of determining. We're kind of determining how, if I'm not going to reread it, then I maybe shouldn't keep it. Alright, everybody, you got me. I did not expect to be unhauling that, but there we go. I did it. Whoo! Yikes. Okay. Let's get through 3 that I'm definitely keeping. We've got the Wayward Children's series. So this is Every Heart a Doorway, Down Among the Sticks and Bones, and Beneath the Sugar Sky. 2 of these are arcs. I love all 3 of these. They have all gotten phenomenal reviews from me, and I'm going to be reading the next. I think she confirmed that there are going to be like another 3 in the series. I think so. I love them. They're beautiful, wonderful books. I'm trying to balance it, people. When I unhaul some, I gotta get through some that I know I'm keeping. It's gotta happen. Oh man, we were just talking about Stephen King. Let's talk about what I'm gonna get rid of. Reading Stephen King. This is a book that I used for my most intense research paper back in high school. The only reason I've kept it is because I have underlined and highlighted half of this book. The most intense amount of like research and notes that I've done, and this was in high school. So I don't know why I've kept this as long as I have. I don't need it. I don't need a reference book about reading Stephen King in high school anymore. So, getting rid of that. I actually have to agree with the person who just said that they didn't think Beneath the Sugar Sky was as good as the first two. I agree with you. I think that, honestly, how I like them has gone in order. I like Every Heart a Doorway the most, and then Sticks and Bones, and then Beneath the Sugar Sky. My sister just asked if she can come home because I'm doing a live show. So how does everyone feel about that? Hold on. Let's see. Everyone say what you're currently reading while I hurry and respond to this. I am monopolizing our home currently. All right, what are people currently reading? Conjuring of Light, excellent choice. Let My Sister Come Home. Yeah. All right, Miss Marvel, that one's good. Wind Witch, that's good. Oh man, now I'm feeling overwhelmed. This is a lot of good books. Thousandth Floor, I've heard that one's pretty good. I haven't actually read it. A Darker Shade of Magic, big approval rating there. Upside of Unrequited is one of my favorites. I haven't heard of a bunch of these. Radio Silence, good call. Clearly I'm a fan. Fangirl, yes. My sister, in case anyone was wondering, said that she's going to come home because she would love to say hi to all of her fans. All right. So let's get back to this, since apparently we're going to have a guest. We've also got On the Edge of Gone by Corinne Dalvis, I believe. This is a really good book that I just read like a month ago, and it's got own voices, autistic rep, it's got a biracial main character, it's really interesting standalone sci-fi, so I'm gonna keep that one. Oh man, you know what else I'm keeping? I'm keeping the Six of Crows duology. Come on. Obviously, I'm not getting rid of this. Crooked Kingdom was like my second 5-star read of the entire year, and like I love them. So, so I'm keeping them. I love this series. Let's see if I can fit it up here. Oh no. Let's try not to drop stuff this time, Cece. Maybe. That would be good. If you didn't just immediately drop all of your fucking books. Okay. What else have I got? I'm so tired. Here. I'm gonna get rid of this. This is Life as We Knew It by Susan Beth Pfeffer, which I liked. I think it's an incredibly well-written book, but it really stressed me out. Like, deeply caused me stress that would extend into my life when I wasn't reading it. It just stressed me out so deeply. So I'm not ever going to reread it because while I loved this, I would never put myself through it again. So I'm going to get rid of that. Oh, here's a book. This is an alternate copy of the first book of the series Unfortunate Events. I got this at Shakespeare and Company in Paris. So I'm not going to get rid of it because it's like a keepsake. I don't know if it's 20. I'm not keeping track. You guys are. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. We're getting 19. Oh no. Did I lose count? 20, you're right. Sorry. I missed one. 20. Ooh, okay, I think I'm possibly going to be getting rid of this. This is The Lump of Coal by Lemony Snicket. It's a little picture book that was given to me as a gift a long time ago when I was deeply in love with Lemony Snicket, but I don't really need picture books. So I'm going to get rid of that. And just keep my main Lemony Snicket books. I don't know if I'm going to be doing an unhaul video. I think, is that something people are interested in? This is going to be a pretty big stack. It's unhaul videos I always get yelled at, so it's hard to determine. Let's see. Mr. Penumbra's 24-Hour Bookstore by Robin Sloan. Oh, goodbye, people who have to leave. Again, I know it's still getting later and later, so good night. My stack is now legal to drink. God bless. Thank you. I love this book. Sorry, everybody who seems like they don't love this. I love Mr. Penumbra's 24-Hour Bookstore. I bought this edition while I was living in London. I bought it at a little stand in Cambridge. Apparently for £3, according to the Pencil Mark. I think it's a great book. So, personally, I love it. So I'm going to keep it. I have this dinky little edition of Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. And I can't decide. I love Pride and Prejudice. I love the book. I love the miniseries. I love retellings. It's just this little kind of dinky paperback, but I think, honestly, I think I'm going to keep it. I think that this is a good size for me, like a good edition of Pride and Prejudice for me, so maybe someday I'll even reread it. That would be amazing, right? Me rereading a classic? That's like unheard of, but someday it could happen. You just never know. Oh, okay, so the person who said get a better copy, do you want to know what I have a nicer copy of than my copy of Pride and Prejudice? Let me see if I can find it. Where would you... Oh, it's right here. I have a much nicer copy of Pride and Prejudice and Zombies by Seth Grahame-Smith. This is like a faux leather-bound copy. It's illustrated. It's got like a fancy bookmark. I love this. And I think it accurately represents, I don't know. I love Pride and Prejudice, but I love every version of Pride and Prejudice. And this accurately describes my passion for Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. Not the movie, which I don't like, but the book. So I'm keeping this, obviously. I have such passion. I have such passion for this random zombie retelling of Pride and Prejudice. Have you guys read the other retellings that have been done of Jane Austen's books? I know that she has one like Sense and Sensibility and Sea Monsters. Is that one any good? There's also the Vampire Slayer one, the Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter one. Are those any good? I really like Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, but I like weird books. I like weird books that mash up classic stories with zombies, apparently. So I understand only being interested in retellings if they're gay. I truly get that. Pride and Prejudice is like an exception to my rule. All right. Let's see. Moving on. Oh, this is the Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. This is a Little Black Classics edition that I like, and it's a really good short story. So I'm going to keep it because it's a good short story. It's super creepy if people are interested. I'm a fan of how creepy that short story is. I think Charlotte Perkins Gilman is a great author. Someone was asking me earlier what the longest book I've ever read was. I can tell you. It's The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas, which I'm not going to get rid of, first of all, because this edition is a gift, but also because someday in my life, I truly believe I would like to reread this 1,400-page monster. I love this cover. I liked this book. It took me 7 months to read initially. Like, the first time I read it took me 7 months. So maybe when I am old and gray and I have time on my hands, I will reread this because I liked it a lot. This is barely going to fit anywhere. There we go. Oh, all right. Is this the last Shannon Hale book? I believe this is the last Shannon Hale book. This is Book of 1,000 Days, which is signed. I haven't decided about this one. This is a retelling, like a lot of Shannon Hale's books are, and I remember liking it a ton. I remember giving it 5 stars, but it's also been a number of years since I have read it. I love fairy tales. I love Oh, it's not sweating. People who are worried about it, it was inside the water bottle, don't worry. I haven't decided if I want to keep it. Do people still remember liking this one? I think I'd like to revisit it someday. So let me know if that's... Should I keep this one? I love Shannon Hale. I don't want to get rid of all of her books. And this was one of my favorites when I was younger. So I think I'm actually going to keep that one. All right, there we go. There are the people who are saying keep it. Apparently Sense and Sensibility and Sea Monster is not one to read. I believe that. I don't love Sense and Sensibility as much as Pride and Prejudice, the book. I didn't like the Sense and Sensibility book. I do, however, love Sense and Sensibility, like the movie, with my whole heart. I've watched it like hundreds of times. Not really, but on it, that's what it feels like. So I don't know if I could handle reading that with sea monsters involved, because I love that one so much. My favorite Pride and Prejudice character is Elizabeth Bennet, obviously. She's my girl. But I also love my socially awkward Darcy, who is just trying his best. I'm currently living in Utah, for the people who are asking that still. I'm currently living in Utah. Next we have You're Never Weird on the Internet Almost, by Felicia Day, which is a memoir. A lot of you probably know that I love memoirs written by impressive women. I have a pretty decent collection of them going. I tend to read one at the end of every year, so I remember really liking this. I have a lot of experiences very in common with Felicia Day, being homeschooled, the anxiety of starting school, getting into nerd culture, and all of that stuff, so I'm keeping this book. It was, like, super relatable. Yeah. So I'm going to keep that, perhaps. So this is Harry, A History by Melissa and Nellie. In high school, I was really obsessed with reading books about books. I think I've gotten into that less, but I still like it. This is basically a story about the Harry Potter fandom itself and being inside the Harry Potter fandom when the 7th book was coming out. I remember being really interested in it, but I don't necessarily know if it's something I would reread. Wow. Everyone's telling me to unhaul it. You know what? I'm going to take it. I'm going to take your suggestions, everyone. Out it goes. It's a really good book, though. If you want to know more about the Harry Potter fandom and what it was like during the years, it was still really intense. Let's see. What am I doing with my unhauled books? Some of them are being donated. Some of them are going to be sold back to my local used bookstore. That's the plan. Next we have Forest of a Thousand Lanterns by Julie C. Dow. I'm keeping this because I liked it and I want to read the second one. I'm also keeping it because Janelle wants to read it. So, twofold, but it's staying. That was a good retelling. I mean, I like to pretend I'll only read retellings if they're gay, but honestly, I've loved retellings for so many years that I love them. I love them all. Next up, let's go with the Percy Jackson and the Olympians series by Rick Riordan. I just reread these a couple of years ago. This may be the only other exception to my middle grade rule because I did reread them and still love them. So, I'm going to keep these. I'm going to keep the Percy Jackson series. Someone just asked, what was that snow retelling? Yes, Girls Made of Snow and Glass is by Melissa Bashardust. It is a retelling of Snow White that focuses on the relationship between Snow White and her stepmother, and in that book, the Snow White character is queer and has a romance with another lady. It's just a beautiful book, one of my favorite retellings I've read in a while. I'm not getting rid of Percy Jackson. Don't worry, people. I am, however, going to take this opportunity to really up my unhaul number. I hope you guys are ready. So we've got the 11 Thump series by Obert Sky. Let's see how this is coming in. How are people feeling about it? The 11 Thump series is a middle grade series that I loved. I loved it. I read it I read it with someone. I read it with my friend Jeannie, and we just consumed them and were obsessed with them. But I would put these on par with like The 13th Reality by James Dashner. They're about at that age level, about at that kind of content, weird fantasy stuff. Like, seriously. So this is book 4. It's called The Wrath of Ezra. This is an evil toothpick. This is the level of content that I'm talking here. So I'm going to get rid of the 11 Thump series. And it has got 5 books. 5 books that are going on the Unhaul stack. I don't know where that puts us, everyone. Who's keeping track? 27? Ooh. Yeah, if you're looking for middle grade for someone, I would definitely recommend them. They're really good books. But I don't really read middle grade. I also think I'm going to be getting rid of Speak by Laurie Halse Anderson. When I originally read this, I gave it 5 stars, but I've thought of it like not once since I originally read it, despite the fact that I rated it so highly. So I don't think I'm going to revisit it. I knew that this was going to upset Sylvia. I remember really liking it, but I'm never going to read it again. So, sorry. I know a lot of people really love Speak, but I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to read it again. I'm interested in the movie. Is the Speak movie any good? Isn't Kristen Stewart in that? I don't know. Is she in that? Is that good? I'm kind of interested in watching it. I've been watching Kristen Stewart movies lately. There's a graphic novel? Oh. Did not know there was a graphic novel. Now I'm going to have to look into that. Okay. Next up we have 4 Agatha Christie books. I think I'm going to keep all but 1. So I love And Then There Were None. I love Murder on the Orient Express, and I liked The Mysterious Affair at Styles, but it was the very first ever Poirot book. So I'm going to keep these 3, but I'm going to get rid of The Mystery of the Blue Train, which I feel like was just too generic a mystery for me to keep around. So I'm going to get rid of that one and keep the rest. I love Agatha Christie, and I plan on reading a lot more of her books later on, but these are the 3 that I'm keeping for now. Let's see. This Is Really Happening by Aaron Chalk. I'm keeping this book. This is another one of those, like, memoirs by impressive women that I liked. This book was really good. I read it at the beginning of 2018. It was one of the books that started off the year, and I highly recommend it. So, I definitely agree with you that Kristen Stewart's acting is pretty good everywhere besides Twilight. I really like her in other movies. She's really, really good in, Runaways. That's what it's, yeah, The Runaways. She's really good in The Runaways, plus she's queer in The Runaways. It's A+. A+ film. Oh my god, I completely forgot Zutara. Oh my god. I can't believe I forgot that movie existed. You're right. She is good in that movie. Where is my other copy of... Did I already put Jane Unlimited up here somewhere? Does someone remember that happening? Because I just found my ARC. Yes, I did? Okay, so the reason I have 2 copies is because I have this ARC. Is it behind me? It's somewhere. It's somewhere back here. I'll find it. The reason I still have my ARC is because this is where I read it originally, and I have all my tabs, and I need to transfer my tabs over to my hardcover book. So I will be getting rid of my ARC. I'm going to put it in my Unhaul stack. I just need to have a day where I go through and move all of my tabs over. So, behind me on the floor? It's not on the floor, is it? Now you're all just confusing me. It's hiding. I'm gonna put this in my Unhaul stack, and when I find my physical, like, hardcover copy, then I'm gonna transfer it over. Have I read All Out yet? Yes, I'm currently reading it. That's also behind me. I'm about halfway through. I've been liking the stories. a ton. I think the Dahlia Adler story in All Out is my favorite so far. I also loved the Anime Memoirs story. I liked Mackenzie Lee's story. Those are the only ones I'm remembering right now. But yeah. Oh man, this one's gonna hurt me a little bit, but maybe it's time. Maybe it's time. So, these are the Graceling books by Kristen Kishore, which Graceling itself is one of my all-time favorite YA fantasy books. I adore it. It's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I highly recommend it. If you haven't read Graceling, read it. I'm definitely keeping this book. Everyone calm down. I'm keeping Graceling. I would never even consider getting rid of Graceling. So don't worry. My issue comes in with the second and third books. I've read both of these. I loved them. I remember reading Bitter Blue when it first came out, which is why I have a hardcover copy, but I didn't like either of them nearly as much as the first book. So, yes, Graceling is really, really good, especially for those of you who felt like let down by certain elements of Throne of Glass. Graceling and Throne of Glass get compared a lot, and I think that Graceling is far superior. So if you're still looking for like a lady assassin YA fantasy kind of book, read Graceling. Let's see. People are saying to maybe get rid of the second books. I think I remember people saying Fire has a bisexual main character, but it's like really on the down low confirmed, like a very, very brief mention that the main character once had a relationship with a woman. That's the extent of confirming that she's bi. I think I'm gonna get rid of Fire and Bitter Blue. I don't think I'll ever reread them. I know that I'm going to reread Graceling. So I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna get rid of these two books. You know what? This is a very reasonable stack, people. This stack of Unhaul is looking pretty good. Are we holding pretty solid at 31? Oh, good night, people who have to leave. Good night, good night. Thank you for sticking around. Oh no, some people are saying 31, some people are saying 32. That's worrisome. Here, I can hurry and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. 32. 32. Yeah, the arc. Sorry, I really threw people off with that. Let's go with Challenger Deep next by Neil Shusterman. I've been really going back and forth on this book because I liked it, but I don't know if it's something I would reread just because I think it was so difficult to get through. It's very confusing. Like if you work through it, then it's okay, but it's a little difficult to get through, and because of that, I don't think I'd ever reread it. Yeah, am I gonna get okay? Well, if you haven't ever read it before, I definitely recommend it. It's really interesting. It's a beautiful discussion of mental illness and the thing. It's really good. But I think I'm going to get rid of it because I don't think I'm going to reread it again. Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if people really wanted me to keep that one. It's a good book. It's not my favorite. I should have shown you guys a picture of what the back of my car looks like so you could encourage me more. I think we're through more than half of these. This is a much more reasonable stack. Like, there you go. This is what we're looking at now. It's much smaller. Man, this stream's been going on for a long time. Thank you if you guys have been sticking around. We should probably go through my Cornelia Funke stack. The author who I get in trouble for saying her name wrong every time I say it. I don't know if I can get rid of any of these. If there's anyone who jump-started my love of reading, it was this woman. Look at how many of her books that I own. Okay, so I'm definitely keeping The Thief Lord. This book is what initially inspired me to go to Venice. I got to go to Venice eventually, and it was amazing. I reread the book after that. It's still a wonderful book. Would not even consider getting rid of it. It's too wonderful. Reckless, I have to keep, because the second book, Fearless, is on my top 12 to read TBR, and I have to reread Reckless first. So this could go away eventually, but for now, I'm keeping it to reread it. Let's see. Inkheart is also why I love reading so much. Oof. That's accurate. So the Inkheart trilogy, I honestly don't know if I could ever get rid of these books. I know that a lot of people had a hard time getting through them. I read Inkheart over and over again when I was younger. I listened to the audiobook when I was younger. I love them. And I know that I had problems with the second two in the series, but also, like, I don't think I could ever get rid of these. They mean too much to me. These are books that are sort of like a series of unfortunate events that way, where, or even Harry Potter, where they mean too much to me to get rid of them. I know that Ink Death is like a monster, but someday I would like to reread this series. I really, really would. So, I'm going to try to fit these up here. Which leaves Dragon Rider. I could never get rid of Dragon Rider. I should have just put the entire stack up there to begin with. Dragon Rider is another exception to my middle grade rule. A sequel came out recently. I would love to be able to reread this and then read the sequel, because I also read this book like 10 times and listened to the audiobook. I think the audiobook for this was read by, his name is gone. Brendan Fraser. I'm pretty sure the audiobook of this was read by Brendan Fraser, and I've loved it. So I'm keeping this. I can't get rid of those. I'm sorry, I can't get rid of those books. They mean too much to me. I was right, it is Brendan Fraser? Yeah. He does really good voices. He does a good job. Here, we could get rid of a couple. Would that make everyone happy? We've got Beastly by Alex Flynn. I used to obsessively read retellings, but like my passion for this book has waned so deeply. So I'm getting rid of, this is the last Alex Flynn book I owned. I used to own like all of them. So last one, and I'm getting rid of it. I'm also going to be getting rid of Can't Wait to Get to Heaven by Fanny Flagg. I love Fanny Flagg. She wrote one of my favorite books, Fried Green Tomatoes, Was to Stop Cafe. I have another book by her that I'm planning to read, Daisy Faye and the Miracle Man. That's in Pennsylvania somewhere. I liked this book, but it's not sticking with me, and I'd never reread it. So, there's another one. Ooh, let's see. Do you plan on purchasing the 20th anniversary Harry Potter editions? I don't think so. I don't really collect alternate editions of Harry Potter books. Janelle does, but she really only collects the ones that are... She collects like foreign editions when we visit different places. We're not really people who collect alternate editions of books we already own. So I don't think I'm going to be buying them, personally. Let's get through some 5-star reads that I'm definitely keeping. Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. Gillian Flynn's one of my favorite authors. I love all of her books. I wrote a little bit about her in my thesis, but I love Sharp Objects. So, keeping that. I'm also definitely keeping Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. I read this in December last year, gave it 5 stars. It was one of my favorite books of the year, so I'm keeping it. Oh my god, thank you. Thank you so much. Someone just said that I'm their all-time favorite YouTuber, and that means a lot to me. Thank you so very much. Let's see. Keeping Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. Obviously, I'm keeping this. I just barely reread it, and it's so covered in sticky tabs right now because it's wonderful. I also just read and really liked The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert. I think I'm keeping this for now. It was like really mysterious and creepy, and I'm not planning on reading the sequel because this book did not need a sequel. What? Oh my god. But I'm gonna keep this because I liked it and I would consider revisiting it. Plus, it is, like, seriously one of the most beautiful books. It's just gorgeous. Oh man, this one's gonna be hard. You guys are gonna have to really convince me on this one. I would appreciate it if you did. So, hold on, let me grab it. So I have 2 copies of Zeros by Scott Westerfeld, Margot Lanigan, and Deborah Biancotti. So the reason that I have kept this book as long as I have is that this is the very first ever ARC that I ever received. It was back when I first started my channel. I'd been a booktuber for like 3 months maybe, and they sent me this. So I've been having a really hard time getting rid of this ARC. I also have a physical copy. I'm not keeping this. So, hardcover, gone. So, yeah, the only reason I would keep this is sentimental value. I don't intend to finish the series. I don't plan to reread this, but it is the first ever one I ever got. So, I don't know. Uh-oh. My sister's here. Let me close my door at least. Let me close my door for just 1 second. All right. Keep the ARC. Oh man, you guys are totally betraying Janelle right now. She's going to get so mad at me that I kept this, but I kind of want to keep it. It's got so much sentimental value that I don't really want to get rid of it. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it, but I got rid of the hardcover. I'm planning on keeping Frankenstein. Janelle will understand. Now listen. Now listen. She is the person who most motivates me to unhaul books. We have a lot of stuff. We are stuff happy people. So she won't. She's getting mad at me, but I'll fight for it. So Frankenstein, I love this edition. I love this book. Someday I'd like to reread it, but mostly I love this edition, so I'm going to keep it. This one's a little hard. Yes, Frankenstein does have blue pages. Here, I didn't show it very well. The sides of Frankenstein are blue. They're pretty. Should I keep The Martian by Andy Weir? I read this book originally and I gave it 4.5 stars, but it was back at the beginning of my channel when I was really, really easy on stuff. So I don't know if I'm going to reread it. I don't know. Maybe. Mostly I think that I would just watch the movie again because I think it's a very good adaptation. I truly don't know about this one. Someday I might reread it. I didn't find it boring. I really liked it. I thought it was funny. I'm gonna keep it. I was unsure how I was gonna feel about that one, but there we go. Oh, you know what I'm getting rid of? The Merciless. Sorry, my sister is here. So, The Merciless, I liked it originally when I read it, but I'm not going to reread it. And my opinion of it has faded with time. So, I'm going to get rid of The Merciless. Plus, I have no interest in reading the rest of the books in the series. This did not need sequels. Oh, here. I mentioned these earlier as stuff I was going to keep. I'm going to keep the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer for now. I like them, so I'm going to keep them. Maybe that will change in the future, but I'm keeping them. Whew. We are getting so close to the end. Everybody. I can't believe some of you have been watching for 2 hours. That's absurd. Come in.
Hello.
It's right here.
Oh.
There you go.
Hello.
She's waving to her fans.
Nice to see you. Okay.
That's really it. She just had to stop by. I am back Now I'm going to go back to monopolizing this house. Everyone's saying hello to you. Everyone insult her now that she's gone. Oh, I'm just kidding.
I'm just telling the story. Everyone's gonna hear it.
No. Okay. Was that cute outfit for her? Oh, you're being way too nice. She is pretty. She is pretty. Okay, let's move on. The Rest of Us Just Live Here by Patrick Ness. I think I'm going to get rid of this book. The reason I've kept it as long as I have is just that it is signed. And that I got it signed when I was living in London. So this is like a Waterstones edition. It's got these yellow edges, but I didn't really like it all that much. So I'm going to get rid of it. Even though it kind of hurts because it's signed. I didn't really like it. But I'm going to keep the rest of my Patrick Ness books. So that's the Chaos Walking trilogy, one of my favorite trilogies. Could never get rid of it. And I'm keeping A Monster Calls because it's fantastic. I love Patrick Ness. He's one of my favorite authors, which is why it's so hard to get rid of some of his books because, like, I love him, but I don't like The Rest of Us Just Live Here. Oh, no. Okay, I'm going to start setting these next to me for just a minute. I'm keeping Foolish Hearts by Emma Mills. I really liked this book. I read it back in January, and I thought it was really good. Plus, that is the Owlcrate exclusive edition of the cover. Yes, I have met Patrick Ness. He was really, really nice. And I don't have any of his other books signed, sadly, because when I met him, I had been in London for about a week, and I didn't bring any of his other books with me to London when I lived there. So I just had that book signed by him. Hopefully someday I will get the chance to meet him again and get my Chaos Walking book signed because I love them very dearly, and I would love if those books were signed. Exactly, it just means I have to meet him again. Let's see. I have not seen the Monster Calls movie. Is it good? Is it good? I haven't seen it. I'm interested in seeing it. Let's see. How do you find out when authors are doing signings? So the way I generally find out is that I follow the authors themselves on social media. They're generally pretty good about keeping updated about when they're going to be going places. As soon as an author I like announces that they are going on a book tour, I immediately go to their website and find out the places that they will be visiting and determine if I can go to those places. So sometimes also it's a good idea to keep an eye on your local bookstores. I have a bookstore about an hour away from me called the King's English where a lot of pretty famous authors visit. So I try to keep up to date on their website and see what events they're having. That's the other way I find out. So people generally are saying that it's got a good movie adaptation. A Monster Calls is a good adaptation. Awesome. I'll have to watch that. Let's see. I have these two plays by Shakespeare, which seem like a weird thing, but I love Shakespeare. My mom loved Shakespeare. I was raised on reading these books, or these plays. Sorry. Books. Oh my god. So I have Macbeth and I have Twelfth Night. Twelfth Night is my favorite. I've always preferred the comedies. I don't think I need to keep Macbeth. Just personally, like I don't love Macbeth. So I think I'm gonna get rid of Macbeth. But for now, I'm going to keep Twelfth Night. I've actually read Twelfth Night 3 or so times. This is my edition that I annotated in high school. So it is so like written all over, and I have my notes all over it. So I'm going to keep this because I liked it. I like Twelfth Night. Sorry to people getting rid of Macbeth. I like it. I've read so many of Shakespeare's plays. It's just that I don't really need my own copy of Macbeth because I'm not planning on rereading the play. We just need to not talk about this book. I will never reread this book, but I refuse to get rid of it. So, this was my first favorite book ever. The first time I ever read a book, and I read this over and over again, like back to back. I'd finish it, start it over again when I was 12. It's signed. I can never reread it because then I would know that it's terrible for sure, and I can never have that knowledge, but I can also never get rid of this book. So that's my full explanation. That's it. I'm keeping it. Sorry. First favorite book ever, sentimental value. We have, let's see, we have so few books. You guys, so few books. Let's take a break before we get through the last couple piles of books and go over graphic novels and coffee table books real fast. That book that I was talking about was Serpent Tide by K.L. Fogg. I'm pretty sure it was written by a local author in Utah. It was given to me by my family when I turned 12 because they ran into her at a bookstore when she was signing and bought it. But I loved it. So, graphic novels. First of all, I have this Sherlock manga, which is basically, I think it's the beginning of A Study in Pink, the first Sherlock episode. This was given to me by a couple of my parents' friends when they went to Japan. I'm never going to read it. It's in Japanese. It's not even... So it was very sweet of them to think of me and very sweet of them to give this to me, but sorry. I think I'm going to get rid of that. I am, however, definitely going to keep, oh man, this is a weird combo of things we've been talking about. Much Ado About Nothing manga edition. Much Ado About Nothing is my favorite Shakespeare play, and this is just a manga edition of it. It's hysterical and wonderful, and I bought it at the Globe. I bought it at the Globe when I went to see Richard III, so I'm keeping this. It's weird, but it's really good. I recommend. Oh no, why am I getting an all caps CC? I will be organizing my bookshelves by author's last name. That's always how I've done it, and that is always how Janelle has done it. So, yes, Shakespeare manga. It's not like I want to get into the rest. I've seen the Emma, not Emma. What in God's name? It's not like I want to get into the rest, but it's a lot of fun. So we also have the fourth Scott Pilgrim, by Brian Lee O'Malley. I have the rest of them in storage in Pennsylvania. I'm thinking about getting rid of these. I'm thinking about not completing the series. This is a graphic novel series it's good. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is like one of my favorite movies, but I don't think I'm ever going to read these. So there we go. That's another one gone. Next we have Power and Magic, the Queer Witch Comics Anthology. This is a very fantastic collection that I highly recommend keeping it. We've got In Real Life by Cory Doctorow and Jen Wang. Definitely really like this book. Huge fan of it. Like, it's a great graphic novel. It's got great art, so I'm keeping it. And I am keeping El Defo by C.C. Bell. Yeah. These are books that I read as library books and then purchased because I liked them enough, so I don't need to get rid of them. I bought them for a reason. Oh, all right, more people leaving. Goodbye. Thank you for sticking around. We're almost done, so you really stuck it out for the long haul. Okay, this is a very valid question, Marissa. The real question is, where are we going to put our Funko Pops? Yeah, that is a good question. I just put all of mine in boxes, and it's an overwhelming number. But we're going to do our damnedest. I promise you that. We're going to try to get them all somewhere. Let's see. We got some comics. We got some single issue comics. I'm not counting these as things I've unhauled because, like, they're single issue comics. They were things that cost $2, $3. Some of them I got for free at events. So I'm going to get rid of Afar. This was an exclusive excerpt that came in an owl crate. I don't read single issue comics. I went through a period of buying them, but I'm never going to read them. So, goodbye. Bye. Thank you for sticking around. It's probably going to be another, I don't know. We just have a couple more stocks. I'm getting rid of this, Aether and Empire. I'm not going to read it. I'm keeping these. So we've got four single issue comics of the Haunted Mansion. I want to get the first one. That's the only one I'm missing, but I love the Haunted Mansion, so I'm keeping these. No, I was thinking we would not count the comics for Unhaul just because they're like, you know, that I don't count them as books. I don't count something that I've read as a book unless it's like a bind up. Like if it's a collection of 5 issues, then I count it as a book. So I'm personally not counting that in my grand number of things I've unhauled. But that's just me. You guys can have a different number than me at the end of this. I'm going to get rid of Mystery Girl, which I'm going to get rid of that. I'm getting rid of Goldie Vance, but it is because I have since read Volume 1 of Goldie Vance. It's one of my favorite comics of all time, and I want to purchase it. I want to buy it and Volume 2. So, yeah. Oh man. I got these Doctor Who comics. I have a pretty big collection of Doctor Who comics sitting around in Pennsylvania. It might be time for me to get rid of them. I don't think I'm going to ever reread comics about Doctor Who. So I'm going to get rid of these. Let's see. Oh, Sylvia, did you just read Goldie Vance? Please tell me you liked it. I love Goldie Vance. It's getting an adaptation and I'm dying about it. The last single issue comics I have are Bitch Planet, issues 1 through 8. I have more in Pennsylvania. I love Bitch Planet, so I'm going to keep these because I like Bitch Planet. Okay, that is all of these single issue comics. Yeah, I love reading comics. I just prefer to read them as bind-ups. Just personally, I have read Paper Girls, but I didn't really like Paper Girls. I wound up giving my copy to someone else. I gave my copy of Paper Girls to Sylvia. So, and I think if I recall, Sylvia liked them more than I did. If I'm remembering that correctly, when we did a whole thing together, like a live show discussing books and graphic novels and stuff. And so yeah, she got those. So we have some coffee table books to get through. I have some coffee table books to get through right now. This one is going to be hard. So this is Game of Thrones. It's a pop-up guide to Westeros. It's legit a full pop-up map. Like you lay it out and it does the full pop-up, like the opening title sequence of Game of Thrones. Yeah, it's huge. It's huge, and I love pop-up books, so I think I'm gonna keep this. I love it a lot. It's one of my remaining things that I have to highlight my love for Game of Thrones, so I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna get rid of another Game of Thrones coffee table book, don't worry. Let's see. We've got some, like, kids' books and stuff that I've been given over the years. I've got like a Time magazine with Harry Potter. I'm gonna keep that. It's a good thing. I've got She Persisted. This is a picture book. I think I'm gonna try to give this to one of my cousins. I don't really need a children's picture book per se, so I'm gonna get rid of this. But hopefully give it to one of my cousins who will appreciate it. I have no idea how I'm gonna transport that book, but like, it's gonna be something. I mean, I also have to transport, like, my sculpture of Hogwarts made out of paper. I'm even more terrified of that. We also have a book called Fight On that my aunt gave me. It's just a pretty book full of pictures and inspirational words. So I'm keeping that. I'm also keeping my Drew University yearbook, but that doesn't count as a book. That's just, like, something that my university sent me, and I was like, where did you come from? Janelle can carry them in her lap. Good plan, everybody. I'll just make Janelle transport all my stuff. So we've got The Haunted Mansion. This is a book about the Haunted Mansion, the making of and how it's different around the world. The Haunted Mansion is my favorite Disney ride. I have experienced it in California, Florida, and France. So I'm keeping this. Yeah. I don't think Janelle is watching this live stream, but I'm gonna tell her how much you are all influencing me. She's gonna be displeased. You guys are gonna be in trouble with Janelle? What? Uh-oh. We've also got Buffy the Vampire Slayer, The Watcher's Guide. I requested this a little while ago from Simon & Schuster. It's a new collected edition, and I love it. So I'm keeping that. I have another Buffy book. Where did it go? Buffy Encyclopedia. Keeping that. I just barely got that for my birthday, like less than a month ago. Here's what I'm gonna get of. This is about The Nightmare Before Christmas. Are people saying hi, Janelle? Is she here? Or are you just in general saying hi just in case? In case she's lurking. Okay. I didn't think she was here. People. This is really good. I read through all of it when I was younger, got some good information about The Nightmare Before Christmas, but I'm not going to keep that. We've also got, here's another one I'm getting rid of. Doctor Who, The Secret Life of Monsters. This is another thing where I still love Doctor Who. Definitely still love Doctor Who, but a lot of my passion for the extra stuff that's come out outside of the show has waned with time, and I don't really feel like I need this book, so I'm gonna get rid of it. Coffee table books are the things I have the hardest time getting rid of, because they're huge, and I didn't buy most of them. They're gifts because I can't afford them myself. But they're things I've had for a long time and at least looked through. I am so thrilled about Jodie Whittaker as the new Doctor. I stopped watching Doctor Who, which is absurd for me, but I definitely want to watch 12's last season with Bill, like lesbian companion. That's everything to me. And I want to watch Jodie Whittaker's seasons. So I don't know what to do with this. This is the Gishwez 2014 yearbook. Gishwez, in case you don't know, is like a huge scavenger hunt that Misha Collins started that I participated in 2014. I'm not in this book. Like none of our team's pictures made this book. So I've been thinking about getting rid of it. I don't even know if this counts as an unhaul because it's like a yearbook. I don't know who I would give this to. But I don't need it. So I'm going to get rid of it because it's heavy and I'm not even in it. All right, last one. No, it's not. Well, okay, I'm getting rid of this. This is inside HBO's Game of Thrones. I loved looking through this originally. I read it a ton. It was released when the 4th season came out, so this only extends through stuff that happened in season 4. But again, coffee table books. They're hard to transport. It's beautiful, and I learned a lot from it. But it's kind of outdated, and I don't really need coffee table books at all, frankly. But especially ones that I'm not going to look through. So I'm going to get rid of that, too. We are so close, everyone. Well, the last thing that's like a big thing is the Beatrice letters. I'm keeping this because at some point I want to finish rereading a series of unfortunate events and read this because I really like this. I like the Beatrice letters. It's interesting. I remember putting together the anagram like when it first came out. It's so interesting. So I'm going to keep the Beatrice letters, which means we have, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 books left. 16 books left to keep or get rid of. 16 books left to get through. Oh man, people are about to be mad at me. We're going to get through this fast. I'm keeping The Host by Stephanie Meyer because I like it. I think it's good, so I'm keeping it. So, sorry everyone, I really like The Host. I'm also keeping A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab because it's one of my favorite series. Are these... My third one is not signed, but the first book and the second book in the series have been signed. And the third, all 3 of these. So all 3 of my Darker Shade of Magic books have been signed. I love them. I love Victoria Schwab, so I'm keeping this. Do I have all of my books signed? Yeah, anything I own by Victoria Schwab, I believe, has been signed. So clearly I love her. Let's see if these will get up here. All right. Speaking of Victoria Schwab, we're going to keep this Savage Song. I haven't read the second book yet, but this is, I think, the last series that is on my list of series that I have to finish this year or DNF. Definitely want to finish it, so I'm keeping this. I love this one a lot. This one is signed too. It's really cute. I don't know if you can see this, but she drew a cat. So that's pretty fantastic, just in my personal opinion. And I'm keeping it because I love Victoria Schwab. Haven't read any of her. I would personally say that This Savage Song, I think is my least favorite book that I've read by Victoria, but that by no means means that I didn't like it. I still really, really liked it. It just didn't get 5 stars like the rest of her books have gotten from me. Let's see. I do have a tabbing system. I did a video about it, I think a year ago. I think it was called something like Tips to Reading More, Tips and Tricks to Reading, and in that video for a minute I talk about my tabbing system, but I could, let's see. Do I have a tabbed book? Yeah. So my tabbing system is pretty simple. Basically, I have 5 colors. I have pink, which I tab for romantic moments, shippy moments, that kind of thing. I have green and yellow, which double as the same thing. Those are basically just like quotes I love, general things that I want to remember. Orange is made me smile or made me laugh, and blue is stuff that made me cry or made me emotional. So, yeah, that's my tabbing system. Pretty simple. I am keeping The Inheritance Cycle by Christopher Paolini. I've loved these books for a number of years, and someday I will replace this edition of Aragon, and this will be a much less mismatched series. But I reread these regularly, so yeah, I love them, so they're not going anywhere. And nothing fits anymore within my reach, so I'm just going to keep stacking them here. Okay, last stack of books, everybody. We've got Where Am I Now by Mara Wilson, which I'm keeping. Inspiring lady memoir. I'm a fan. This is also one of the most personal connections I've ever had to a memoir. Mara Wilson, recognizing that she has OCD, was like such an intense read for me because so many people in my family and like friend group have OCD. Her recognizing that and going through that was a really special experience. So, keeping that. Ooh. So, A Sorcery in Cecilia or The Enchanted Chocolate Pot by Patricia C. Reed and Caroline Stevermer. I got this book when I was really, really young as a gift because my name is Cecilia, although it's not spelled like this. I'm never going to reread this. This is like a Fantasy of Manners book, I think. I'm never going to reread it. Ugh, okay, getting rid of it. What else? We've also got The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. I'm keeping it. Loved it. It's a phenomenal book. The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. Oh no, this one's hard. I loved this book. But I don't think I'm ever going to reread it. Like, I loved the writing style. I thought it was absolutely beautifully written. Sorry, I'm getting rid of it. See, the problem is now you guys are inspiring me to hit 50. And that's making it hard. What number are we at? Everyone? Does anyone know? Oh no, people are not appreciating the fact that I unhauled The Book Thief. I'm very sorry, everyone. I'm not going to reread The Book Thief, so I'm getting rid of it. Is it really 48? Oh man, that's gonna be hard because I have 3 books left, and now I really want to hit 50. Okay, I'm getting rid of this. This is Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit by Jeanette Winterson, which is really interesting for part of it, as far as like a true story about a girl dealing with her sexuality and religion. As we know, I'm into those stories, but it had this weird plot line going on that I didn't like it nearly as much. So yeah, I'm gonna get rid of this. Here's the thing though, about the person who said if I kept The Martian, I should have kept The Book Thief. I think that in my life, I absolutely picture myself rereading The Martian more than I would ever consider rereading The Book Thief. I have a hard time revisiting sad books, and that book broke me, and I don't think I would ever read it again, personally. I have 2 books left. So my last 2 books are Call the Midwife by Jennifer Worth and I Am the Messenger by Marcus Zusak. What do we think? What do we think? I haven't read I Am the Messenger since I was so young. I got it from the library and I remember loving it, but I have no memory of it. So, do I need to reread it? Do I need to keep it to reread it? Or no? Unhaul? Oh, you guys just want me to hit 50, don't you? Call the Midwife is a true story. I've never watched the show, but I remember liking this book. I don't think I'm going to reread it. Getting rid of both? Is that how we're finishing this off? All right. Both unhauled. And that is it. That is it, everybody. The stack is gone. And now all that's left is, let's see. That's what it looks like now, everybody. There are all of my books. Yeah, I think that's where we're gonna leave it. 51 books. That is absurd for me. I think that we are going to wrap up now. Oh, that was hard. Thank you, everybody who's been around and inspired me to get rid of a lot of these books. I think I needed a push on a lot of them, and I feel a lot better about the idea of being able to get these all into the back of my car. So thank you very, very much. Maybe I will do an unhaul video. Undecided. Maybe. When you live together, last couple quick questions. When you live together, will Janelle and I do unboxings together? Yes, absolutely. We were just talking about that a couple of days ago and how excited we were to do Outgrade unboxings together again. Goodbye for those of you. 4:30 in the morning. Good God, go to bed. Oh. All right. Thank you very, very, very much, all of you, for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'm going to say goodbye now, and yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye, everybody. I had a great time hanging out with you. Goodbye. Goodbye.